And you are listening to WNTH 88.1 FM in Winnetka. This is Radiothon, and we are now joined with Meryl Garbus of tUnE-yArDs. Hi, Meryl.
Hello, hello.
Hi, where are you calling in from?
Kansas City.
Nice.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Nice. Okay, I'm Becca.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Jordan.
And we're from WNTH, which is a high school radio station on the North Shore of Chicago. Thank you.
I heard. Y'all are awesome for doing this.
Oh, thanks. You're awesome for calling in. Thank you so much.
We're really excited to talk to you. We're all huge fans.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Okay,
cool.
So you have a new album coming out next week, Nicky Knack, which we're really excited for. Can you tell us a little bit about the album?
Sure. I think it's fun. I think you can dance to it.
Yeah.
We kind of got into doing a little bit more with drum machines. And I took voice lessons and drum lessons, so I'm hoping that I'm playing better on it too.
Yeah.
But no, we're really proud of it. I think it's a lot more of a straightforward. It's not straightforward. What am I talking about? tUnE-yArDs music is pretty weird and not straightforward, but
in the best kind of way.
Yeah. I think that's what I like about making music, is that the music can sound really happy and joyful, and yet there are some lyrics on it that are kind of, that have a lot to chew on, let's say. So yeah, so far we've been playing these shows with Arcade Fire, opening up for them, which they're kind of a hero band of mine. So we've been practicing these new songs with them out on the road, and so far so good.
Yeah, we actually early in March, we interviewed Will from Arcade Fire for this too.
Oh, really?
So
cool.
Give him our love. Yeah, they're
okay.
so much fun. Yeah, what's it like touring with Arcade Fire? They have a huge arena thing going on right now.
It's spectacular.
Yeah,
literally.
That's amazing.
No, it's been wonderful, but they're so incredibly nice to us. I mean, there's been everyone in the band, but also all the crew members. They have so many people that make that show happen. There's confetti, there are mirrors, there are, there's just it's a real huge party all night long for them.
Yeah.
So everybody involved has really been so generous to us.
Are you doing the pre-show dance parties in the middle of the crowd? I know that was a thing when we went.
Oh, no, not yet.
Okay,
last night we got to put on the paper mache bobbleheads and dance around.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to, because I started tUnE-yArDs when I was up in Montreal a lot, and they were a band that had just kind of come out of there and grown into a pretty successful band, in Canada and the States. So it just feels they're like a big sister, big brother band, I guess, to me. And it's felt really good to see how they've grown so much and how their music has grown too. They have so much going on stage now. I think they have 12 people on stage. So now we're only 5. We feel really small.
So I've heard a bunch of tracks off of your new album, and I'm really impressed with it. I really like it, but I noticed that there's a lot of differences between some of the sounds in your new album and the stuff off of Who Kill. So I'm interested as to what you think the differences are between these two LPs.
Good question. First of all, I think I really tried to be different, and that was because I was bored with myself. I mean, I know everybody else didn't seem to be bored, but
no one can be bored with you.
Thank you, but I was bored with me. I just wanted to get away from all the tools that I used to write songs before. So that was the looping pedal and the ukulele. I kind of departed from those methods of songwriting and looked for new ways. So the first song is called Find a New Way. And that kind of encapsulates a lot of what making the album was. But I think that was the primary thing, is that I didn't want to use any of the old crutches that I had, and I wanted to kind of seek out what a song could be. And so I used drum machines. I used, what else did I use? I would start songs with melodies. I would do these exercises where I said, okay, you have to make a drum beat that never ever repeats, which is way more challenging than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like going back to school in a good way. I mean, I don't know how you all feel in high school, but I didn't like high school personally. I mean, but I miss studying a lot. So it was good to study drums and study voice a little bit more, and then kind of study songwriting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And yeah, you mentioned high school. We were wondering, what were some of your favorite bands in high school, and like how did that affect you as an artist today?
Yeah. Another great question. Well, we were talking about arena shows, and I said the last arena show that I went to was Dave Matthews Band.
Nice.
Do you guys know about Dave Matthews Band?
Yeah,
Is that,
of course.
still around?
Okay,
Yeah.
that is my guilty pleasure band.
Exactly.
I absolutely love Dave Matthews Band, and everyone makes fun of me for loving them, but they are just such a fantastic. I love
DMB.
Dave
DMB.
Matthews Band.
DMB was.
Oh my God.
I agree. It's one of those things that I'm like, I don't think this is what people are going to think I'm going to say. But that's. I mean, I grew up in suburban Connecticut.
Yeah.
And we didn't. There wasn't a whole lot available to us. I mean, there was pop radio coming out of New York City, and that was about it. So I went to a lot of those shows. I loved the Beastie Boys when I was in high school.
Nice.
I loved Anita Franco, who I think was a really important influence on me, being a woman not afraid to say some powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And just be a solo singer-songwriter and get a lot out of her one instrument. I mean, she did so much just with guitar and voice.
Yeah.
And who else was I listening to in high school? Then I just, I was kind of obsessed with oldies radio because I didn't like a lot of newer pop stuff. So, so I was listening to Motown, the Four Tops, the Beatles a lot, the Rolling Stones a lot. I kind of got the picture that older stuff had a lot more to it than a lot of the current pop that was happening in the mid-'90s when I went to high school.
Very cool. Okay, so your new album, and kind of your music in general, I feel like there's a lot of kind of like almost with the drums and everything and the beat, there's kind of an African sort of vibe with some of it. And I follow you on Instagram, and I saw that you were in Africa of somewhere for quite a while. Could you tell us about that? Like, was that? Yeah.
Yeah. In college, I did a semester abroad to Kenya, which
you went to Smith, right?
I did go to Smith. Yeah.
Very cool.
When you guys go to college, I highly recommend you take a study abroad. No, seriously though, it was really amazing to get out of this country and go somewhere else. And Smith was an amazing experience, in and of itself, just going to an all-women's school and kind of, no offense, bros, but it was a different experience to be in the classroom setting without guys.
I'm offended.
Just to see what that was like. 1, 2, 3, offended. But getting out of Smith and going to Kenya was also, it really changed my perspective on a lot of things. And I mean, that was musically too. I mean, I studied music there and got to study Taarab music, which is music from the coast of Kenya.
Cool.
And learn Kiswahili to learn to speak Swahili, and that was an amazing thing to be able to converse with people.
Oh, that's so cool.
But then last year I got to go to Haiti for about 2 weeks, and that was also really important. I think any kind of travel where you're shoved out of your comfort zone can be really scary but really useful.
What motivated you to go to Haiti?
Well, I had been taking these drum lessons that were drum lessons with a Haitian master drummer, and so when I was in this year of making an album, and I thought this has to be the year where I also remember what it's like to not be tUnE-yArDs. I needed to really learn about myself a little bit more, because you can get caught up in people asking you to do interviews as if you're a famous person.
Yeah.
You see, instead of just being yourself and being kind of growing. I want to keep growing, not just as a musician, but also as a person. So he was my art teacher, Danielle, he was taking a trip to Haiti just as a cultural exchange. So I decided to go and again, learn more about their culture and learn about the music. And Haiti has a really, really vast musical history and musical tradition.
Very cool.
Interesting.
And you released a totally insane, amazing music video for Water Fountain, one of the
So
singles
cool.
off the album. We've watched it like 3 times already this morning. It's so fun. And you did it with the help of Joel Kafali. Yeah. What inspired this video? And I guess there's so many insane shots going on. We just kind of want to know, like, how did you come up with some of them? Any stories behind them?
Well, music videos are so hard, I think, to get right because I think when it works best is when the artist and the director kind of get on the same page about what they want to do. So I kind of proposed first to do a video where I would be hosting a kids show, and that is first of all because I'm a little obsessed with like kids art in general. I think that there's some amazing children's art out there.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, because I've been a little bit re-obsessed with Pee-wee's Playhouse, which is the show that was on
so
when I was
cool.
a kid.
Yeah, big fan.
And then also, once upon a time, when I was a pretty unemployed puppeteer, I did a video audition to be the host of a kids show, and I didn't get it, and so I kind of wanted to have my revenge. And which this totally felt like I got revenge. So that was the premise, and then Joel just went wild with the animation and the idea. He went back to a lot of classic kids shows, and he's from New Zealand, so there are all these other kids shows that I hadn't heard of that he had grown up with. But went back to characters, all these different puppet characters, and making the couch come alive, and pretty much giving eyes to a bunch of otherwise inanimate objects. So it was so much fun.
Could you tell us a little bit more about your background as a puppeteer?
Sure. Well, I studied theater in college, which is just one of those ways that you just never know what you're going to end up doing based on what you study. It's just I think studying theater really helped me be a musician in a lot of ways, but I never, if I had known that was what I was going to do, I probably wouldn't have studied theater, which would have been a shame, because after college I got a job as a puppeteer up in Vermont, and what can I say about it? It was really wonderful. It was puppets for adults, which a lot of people don't understand exists, but we studied. There's a lot to study in puppetry. I mean, you're trying to make an inanimate object come to life on stage,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sneeze. I'm outside and there's pollen all around me.
Preemptive bless you.
I didn't sneeze. I got scared because I'm on the radio. Anyway, it was a pretty deep exploration, and it was my first, exploration of performance, and it was my first time traveling to Europe as a professional, and we went to Germany, and we went to France, and Finland. I got to go a lot of cool places with that job.
Were these really big shows? Was there a big audience, and was there a big stage with a lot of different puppeteers? I'm kind of confused about the scale of this.
Yeah, as you should be, because most people think that puppets are for kids, and therefore, if they're not for kids, which adults are seeing this stuff? Yeah. I mean, there are puppet festivals, for which there are, thousands of people watching all these puppet shows.
So we go to a puppet festival now.
Yeah, you should,
that's
man. They're really interesting, really interesting. You can do a lot of weird stuff with puppets. But in Europe, I would say that they accept puppetry as an adult art form a little bit more than the States. I would say in the States, we'd get anywhere from between 50 to 300 people out to a show, I think.
Wow.
And honestly, that was a large reason why all of a sudden I thought, you know what, being a musician, I think would give me a better better access to people who actually want to see this stuff, because it got frustrating after a while. I think any kind of theater in the States is kind of, struggles to get those audiences. So.
Did your history as like this kind of artist on stage with puppets have any like influence on your stage like performance now?
Definitely. And I think for a long time I wanted to say, I'll never use a puppet again. And then here we have puppets in our new video. But but no, definitely. I mean, learning how to be on stage and learning how to be myself on stage, I think, even though I might be portraying a character or being in the middle of a performance with a puppet, just comfort on stage is something I really appreciate that I have after having so much stage experience through that stuff. So, yeah, it definitely gave me a lot. So don't worry, whatever you think that you're going to study now, it can lead. I mean, I felt that pressure when I was in high school of needing to know what I was going to do, and I'm really glad that I didn't know what I was going to do exactly.
Cool. And
I got to go, you guys. My van is leaving.
Oh,
we have to get to
okay.
St. Louis for sound check.
Awesome.
But this was so awesome. Thanks for having me. You guys are great.
And
It's been so great talking to you.
yeah, thank
awesome.
you so
And
much.
remind me, what
About
are
your
you
puppet career.
raising money for a really good cause? I remember.
Yeah, we're raising money for Rock for Kids, which is a fantastic organization that provides kids in the inner city with music education that has been kind of cut due to programming. But yeah, so listeners, please go to our website, find out more information, and thank you so much, Meryl, for calling in.
Thank you so
You're
much.
a huge inspiration to all of us.
Just know that Who Kills in my top 10 favorite albums of all time. So thank you for that.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. You're doing great stuff, and good luck.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
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 And that was Meryl Garbus of tUnE-yArDs calling in for the WNTH Radiothon. Wasn't that fun, you guys?
That was
great.
so great.
That
I
was
so glad.
so
to
There was so
cool.
much in there that I had no idea.
I didn't know she was a puppeteer. I think
How do
she
you
might be.
even be a professional puppeteer?
Guys, do you want to go to a puppet festival?
I want to go to a puppet festival.
Puppet festival.
I hope she brings that back on some of her shows. Okay, so here up is Water Fountain, the new song we were talking about by tUnE-yArDs. And enjoy WNTH Radiothon and keep tuning in and going to our website. Google WNTH Radio. It's the fastest way to get there. Thank you. And here it is, Water Fountain.